All right, I'm still kind of figuring out all of this live and editing and all of that stuff. I had a video earlier, but something was going wrong with it. I think I just had too much on here, so I just went through and deleted a couple of things. Hopefully, that'll allow my computer to go a little faster. Um, so this will be like the beginning phases of me just going live, recording myself during my trading sessions and everything like that. Um, right now, what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna create a $1,000 account on like TradingView demo and just trade that until I can gather enough resources to be able to purchase a funded account and go that route. And so this will just be me just maintaining the process, making sure that I'm doing everything right before I get the account, and just also uh, getting better at the editing skills and just going live and seeing how that process works. So what I'm going to do now is I didn't take any trades today because, like I said, whatever. But I am going to at least show you what I would have or could have taken earlier today. Let's see. No, would it be this? How that's looking? Okay, that looks reasonable. All right, so these boxes represent typically the time periods that I'm trading or I prefer to trade because it's more volume or whatever going on. So this first one would be around 12:30 a.m. to about 3:15, 3:30 a.m. Then again, 6 to 7 ish. It's like 7:15, yeah. And then 8 to 10:30. And then I got another one that's like 11:45 until like 3:30. Those are like the closing hours. But going back here to this, let me do this so that way I don't have to keep going back. All right. So on this one, I saw this setup. But broke the trend line. It broke this resistance level with this strong candle. This would have been a 60 pip stop loss, going from 1 to 3. Um, what, like 190 pips. And this would have been from 1:15 to 2:15. So it would have been an hour worth of time on this. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. No, I'm not. Because, like I said, this would be like $1,000 account. I'll be going as low as possible. Oh, why? Oh, oh, because I'm in this. There we go. So something like that would have been 1 unit, 60 pips. Been $60 going for around $185. If I would have a $1,000 account, only risking that much, that would be, where is it at? Actually, it should be here. 6%. Then during this open, during this time period, this was like 8:40, 8:45 a.m. ish. I'm in the Midwest, so that is our time zone. What the time zone I trade on. 3 hour. Even down here on a 3 hour. If I wanted to, I would have been there. It still would have been the same thing. Actually, that would have just been more accurate. Yeah, that would have been more accurate of my entry. The 60 pips. If anything, I might have went to 66 and put that up to the 3. Yeah, there we go. This more accurate would have been here. Still using that 60. 1 to 3. It's close enough. Only thing is, once it got up here, it was ranging, as you can see. It's trying to gain momentum. And it may, during the next phase, like I said, between 11:40, 11:30, 11:45-ish till close. But even something like this would have been 2.5. Would have been close enough. Something, and even for right now, where it's at, the one is the aim there at the 1 to 2. It's ranging right below 1 to 2, which would be another 125. So taking that consideration, even if I had a got in this, or somebody would have got in this and then just closed here, you still would have made, I think, like $300 for the day off a $1,000 account. That's a 30% increase in one day. This video isn't going to be as long because, as you can see, the session is closed out. I just want to show those things. Also, where else? Here. Oh, okay. So take this off. This is S&P. That first one was gold. I'm gonna have to rechart. There's too many lines and stuff going on in here, especially way down here. I'm gonna have to rechart this. Let's see if I recharted this. Ooh. This mug is trying to break that. Yeah, I'm gonna rechart these right quick. So, oh yeah, this gold. This gold. Delete. Move this up. Move that down. Move this over. I'm on the weekly. I'm going to draw this trend line. I'll come down here to the bottom of that. Bottom of them wicks. That. Following that trend line. And if I really wanted to get particular, draw this all the way out. And I could draw, because you see how these is coming up to here, trend line. So now it's creating a wedge or a diamond pattern, and the price should either bounce in here, shoot up or shoot down, or if it breaks out of here, then I know it wants to continue up. Daily. So what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to take my Fibonacci, drop a smaller trend line. Bounce in the mirror, bounce in between, bounce. I'm going to have to get closer to get a better gauge on where the next one is going to be. Here and here. Get closer. This will give me a better, accurate. Here. And then I'm gonna just make this a zone. I'm gonna delete that. I want to draw another trend line. That's what I'm looking at. So I see the bigger one. I want to see. Would it be that? That would mean it's due for a drop. Or, because even this, even if I come from down here, it's still around there. So here, 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 here. It's touching. Let's see what it does. But it's like that'll give me a better gauge. Let me show you. Yeah, that'll give me a better gauge because now again I could say this is forming a pattern for me, and the pattern is this purple, this green. Again, creating a wedge. So we'll see if it breaks this to come down to here, or if it maintains above this to come up to here to break through. But even then, it will have to break through the levels. Because it's definitely having issues getting out of this area. If you can see, as you can see, make this a little more visible. See if you can see, since May 11th, the price, it's come up, it's come down, it's come up, but for the most part, it's been ranging in between the top of this box and this gap. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. I hope that I mess anything up. Okay. So it's been in this area again, as though even though it's moved up, come down, it's still in a wider range. This is a smaller range. You see how it ranges in here in this little box area, little areas, a little area range, little area of range, and it just drops or it comes up or stair steps up. Range. In general, this looks like a good position. This looks like a good position if it wants to finally break out of this here and to be able to really break out. But you never know. You can come up here just like the other one and just drop. That's why I prefer to just set up my charts to show me what the market is look like it's doing in certain areas, and then wait until the market actually does what it's going to do and then enter. This looks nice though. This looks nice. Up. Charting wise, that looks nice. I'm gonna save that. See, the only thing with this is what I also have to consider in this is I want these videos also to be more realistic on not always having to be in the charts all day and realizing realistically how many pips or how much movement you can get out of the chart in one day and not being greedy and stuff like that. So the reason I say that is, excuse me. So these, okay. So so that's one day right here. So with this one, like I said on one of the three, this one is one of the three too. It was just me moving that, seeing that. Where was that? So this is a one of three. And honestly, it has a good chance of possibly getting up to the red line. But I also got to look at this. So let's say from here, started the day, let's say here to where it's at now, it has moved 596, 1.78%, 10 hours or about 11 hours. That would mean if it's going to come up to the red line, that would be, let's say 800, around 800. So then that tells me if it's going to move that much today, be cautious leading into the rest of the week with trading gold, because you could, again, it have movements, good movements, but then it might be a day or two where it's kind of like ranging or slowly pulling back, ranging a little bit, trying to crack, and then finally breaking through. What did I say these were? 60 to like 180, right? Yeah. Which means 360, around 350. Size moving. Down here is like my RSI. This helps me see sentiment to a degree. My window. Oh no. Um, oh, they moved it. I forgot they updated the site. My data window used to be right here. They moved it. They just showed it to me too. Or no, never mind. I'm thinking of something else they moved. Data window right here. So my data window, I can see the volume coming in on this. So that candle that made me enter was this one. So looking at that, it'll show me the volume over here. open, low, close, and all of that. So looking at that, there we go. 1,650, a little more than 1,500 in volume, 2,000 in volume. This candle, 3,000 in volume. Now it came back a little bit, even then though 600, 1,500. This candle is 7, 8, had still smaller. So now we're trying to see what the volume is going to be. If it's going to be enough volume to pretty much, honestly, break this level. As you can see, it's still hovering around this level that I created previously. So it could either range for the rest of the day because, like I said, it's already had a big movement, especially for Sunday leading into a Monday, which isn't horrible considering a lot of people being off for the weekend and stuff like that, and um, getting back into the market Monday mornings. Actually, I'll wait on that. So in a situation like this, I also it'd have been two things. So especially if I didn't get in extra on this one. Let me see something right quick because what happened right here is typically also where I try to get in, scale in again now. To 50. Mm, yeah, I wouldn't have. This most likely would have been my last trade for the day because the way I trade, let me move this out the way until I can describe it. Then I can look at the data window and show it. What was this? Excuse me for a second. Like I said, this will be my first live. So I'm gonna have to like work on being able to multitask and also remember that I'm recording so that way I continue speaking out loud. Two, that's more like it. That's what that's how. Okay. Especially when it broke that with that strong candle. And this would have been here. All right. So this is when I'm going to start showing in real time how I scale in. Dang, I wish I'd have been able to. And I think I was up around this time too, doing something else, not even looking in there. But okay, so this. These are the type of setups that I look for. I can show this the best way. Wish I could get rid of that for now, but I can't. All right, so with this is what happened with this. It broke through a larger trend line, which is this green line. Strong candles continued up. Now, when I see good setups like this, I scale into them because I'm like, this is showing me big volume. My data window. This is showing me big volume, 1500. Everything is in the thousands for the most part, except for that little one. It's fighting to get up here, 900, 1200. And then that big candle happened, and that's 2200. Those are my indicators that, okay, the market is stuck. It was fighting to see if it wants to continue the wick. And then that could some could say that's the no, that wouldn't consider that morning star. But this candle is a great indicator, over 2000 in volume. That's going to show me like, okay, now it wants to continue. It wants to continue up. So seeing that, like I said, would have been my first entry. But because this would have been in my time frame of trading, I also would have been watching it and seeing that even though it broke this trend line, the next level was where this red line is. So I would also have to watch to see if it was going to be able to break through that line or if it was going to get rejected and come back down and stop me out or go below what I was willing to lose or the level that I was willing to go below, which would have been right at the bottom of the red box. Which means, like I said, so right here, I would have got in here for 1 to 66. What that is. 1 to 66. And then again, I probably would have got in once it showed me that it broke that. Oh, I'm on 5. That's why. I'm like, why isn't it? When I scale in, I go down to the 3 minutes and the 5 minutes, primarily the 3 minute, because that's giving me more information on the retracement of the price. So this, okay, but this candle had 1500 in volume, 22 that had 12. This had 1500 in volume. That would have been another indicator to me that, okay, it broke away from this red level with over a thousand in volume, which is higher than average, basically. And with a stop loss near the red line, about 45, 46 ish, my second entry would have been a 1 to 5. So if my first trade was around here, then yes, I would have gave myself some wiggle room and made it a 50, something like that. Yeah, I would have gave myself wiggle room probably to the end of that candle to make it align with a 1 to 2.5. Then once that came down and broke again with this candle, which was a volume of, come on now, 953, which was almost another one, another 1,000. So with that, that would have been a, what's this one mark? 33. That would have been like a 36 for a 1 to 2. Because it would have been, I like all my take profits to be in the same area. Because if I believe that the first one was going to be entry here and come up to here, then they should continue. It's still going to be in the line with my first one. And each time I enter, I move my stop loss up. So that way, just in case they might get up here and then reverse or something, I'm protected. So in a situation like this one, I'm going to use an arrow to represent my stop loss. Okay. So on my first trade, let's change this a little bit, something more visible. Oh, wrong thing. Okay. I think that's the best, but on my first trade, my stop loss would have probably been around, would have most likely been here. So if my price would have went below that, it would have kicked me out the trade. I would have lost what I said I was willing to lose. Once I entered on this trade, my stop loss for my first trade, typically what I do is I move both of them around the same space. So I would have made both stop losses here, right below the red level, I can say. So the first trade would have been risking $60. So I said it was one. So the first trade would have been $60. Going for uh, 190. Then once I would have entered here, I would have moved all stop losses to here. But it would have been two now. Okay, yeah, there we go. There we go. So I would have been risking around 120 for that. But I would have been going for, is this right? Yeah. The math wouldn't be right if I did it like that. Um, or would it? It should be. No, because this number isn't right. That's why. That's why. Because it would have to go up here. That would have been my take profit. I'm actually just gonna do it one. 60. Let's say 130 to. Oh yeah, that is. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't know. I didn't think it wasn't. So okay. Okay. So I would have been risking about around 120 with that move. And once the price got up here and I entered again for the third time, third is my max. Three is my max. Here, I would have moved stop losses up to here. But now I would be risking 3 units altogether. And it would go for a 1 to 2. And that's how I would scale it. This number would be more. Um, it would be altogether 170, 180. I just had it too. It was like 525 plus 80. So what about 300? 380. Two. Four. 24 and 450. Maybe five, depending on how. Say, so 450. Obviously, 450. I would have been able to make on this trade. And at no time would I be risking more than like 150. Because even here, let's say I edit this to 3. Yeah, at no point risking more than 150. And I would have been going. So that would have been like $450 that I would have made off that trade, which would have been a 45% increase. And like I said, not risking more than 15%. That's still high risk. This is a this is just showing what I would do. So because I would have taken those trades like that, this session I would have only taken most likely one or two trades, and even then, making that, being in this, watching this, would have kind of had me a little nervous to the point where most likely what I would have did was move my stop loss up. So had I would have got into this, it would have been it would have been that risking one, going for the 180. I would have most likely moved my stop loss up here to at least a profit of $40. And I might have glimpsed into the market Well, the time is coming up now, anyways, 11:30ish. But I might have just took that. I might have just once it reached $50. Excuse me. Reached $50. I might have just closed it for the day and just accepted a 50% increase for the day. At the same time, you never know. Price could continue up to this level. I'll see. Close that out. Close it out. Yeah. Now looking over here. Let's see what this wants to do. The Wix telling me that it's trying to fight up. It's trying to fight up. But I just don't know if it's going to show me enough. Situations like this too, I'll also look at the economic calendar, see what's coming up for the week, see if it'll affect these things. I would have did my journaling on these. Not feeling. Then look at that wick. We'll see. Like I said, pretty much. Should go below this. Yeah. Journaling. I gotta. I've showed this before, but still. I got my trading log. I track everything. I have it on here on the computer, but it's something about just writing it down that I kind of prefer. The computer it just makes it a little easier for me to show people what I got going on. Um, music is. And a lot of times it's just a patience game. If you've already done your journaling, so like times like this, I would have been writing that. Had I taken the trades, account, date, day, time entered, time exit, was it a buy or a sell, my entry price, stop loss amount, my target profit, how many lots I was using, the leverage percentage, risk to reward, did I win or lose, did it hit my stop loss, or did it hit? Did I exit and draw down? Was it a break even trade? Did I exit in profit, or was it a full trade? How many confluences? What classification of trade it is? What results is typically? How much I lost or how much I gained? And then the ending balance. And I can't forget pair. What pair I'm trading? And then my extra notes. And then, like I said, I just, this should be more of a realistic how I imagine trading should go for me. I don't want to have to always be in the markets all day and just sitting at a computer. All right, so give me a second. Hmm.
So if you just playing around, you can tell your girl to the finance home. That's real. Stop teasing me. Stop teasing me. I can change your life so easily. Keep that here, stay with the leave. Leave me. Got stick to the club. You just get some for a while. We got a lot of day, but it's more to come. We got a lot that ass in the corner. You want shots to the girl.
Oh yeah.
Who's calling that shit? Who's calling that shit?
So okay. So like I was saying, MLC members, Waller speaks. Okay. So this morning, manufacturing PMI happened at 9, which coincides with that. Also coincides with the gap, the jump up the jump up at 9 on gold as well. Now, Jerome Powell will be speaking around 12. That definitely will have an impact on the markets. Well, however he's speaking, whatever he's saying, it's going to have an effect. Monetary policy meeting, Australia, 8 p.m. That'll probably have effect on gold. Governor, 10 core flash euro, jolts, and farm employment. This week will probably have some decent movement. It's got something every red folders every day. Okay. So that makes me think. Bloomberg News.
To license a next generation cancer drug. So this is big because competition in this area of oncology that really seeks to harness the immune system to tackle tumors has been intensifying. We have Bloomberg Intelligence estimating that global sales could hit $60 billion a year by 2027. So sticking with M&A and pharma, we have Sanofi agreeing to buy Blueprint Medicine for at least $9 billion. And that comes as the French drug maker expands its rare immunological disease portfolio. You see shares here of Sanofi, though, edging lower by 0.6%. But we have
pharmaceutical companies growing numbers right now.
And financial sense. JP Morgan adds that this brings in growth driver for rare diseases. And lastly, we're looking at Applied Digital. You see shares here soaring by just almost 50%, and CoreWeave also higher by almost 5%. This is the biggest intraday jump for Applied Digital. This comes after the company entered into 2 lease agreements with CoreWeave. So shares of CoreWeave, as you can see, are also in the green. So Needham says this is, quote, a good deal to get cash coming in, and also proves that major hyperscalers are comfortable with the customers like OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft. Back to you, Sarah.
All right, thank you so much, as well with our individual equity movers. We're, of course, also looking at broad market reaction from the new tariff announcement from President Trump announced late Friday.
We are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50% the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that.
And that brings us to our stocks of the hour. We're looking at steel companies. You look at shares of Cleveland Cliffs, Nucor, Steel Dynamics, and Commercial Metals, all gaining in tandem with their steel and aluminum stocks.
20%.
Trump said these new tariffs on steel will be in effect starting Wednesday, June 4th. Joining us now to break it all down is Bloomberg.
See, a lot of these plays,
President Trump was speaking.
Times like this makes me think.
Was a complete surprise.
Stuff like this. I don't know.
Listen to details of the pending U.S. Steel Nippon Steel deal, which
and this is exactly why I said
but it was only after this announcement.
I probably would have just got to $50 and just called it. Once I seen it kind of sputtering out, I'm trying to hope because it's only a minute or two until my next I know the next session start. But
have been the reaction from market participants and trade lawyers who effectively said, yeah, this one was a surprise.
situations like that, like what I'm hearing on the Bloomberg and stuff like that, makes me think and have to continue focusing on like the guys. There's a couple I watch, Alex and Layla Hormozy, on YouTube and stuff. They talk about this, but Alex, he say trying to switch your attention and just staying focused. Which people say more. I mean, say no to more things. They say yes and stuff like that. They focus more. And so a lot of times when I hear stuff like that, and I know eventually I'll get there, but right now I'm not there. But seeing like, oh, paying attention to tariffs or situations that's affecting the economy, people that do option plays and different companies or things like that, I see the benefits of it because all you gotta do is just watch it. And just like I seen 20% increase in one day on one stock just from what Trump was saying on the steel tariffs and stuff like that. So those people that are doing those plays right now, I know they catching right now, especially if you at the point where you know what you're doing. Um, they catching big plays, and like I said, I'll get there eventually when it comes to that stuff. But right now, I'm on futures. And so I have to stay focused on futures because me trying to get into the option game or other things like that is still going to be a learning curve. And it's like I've gone through so much of the learning curve with futures. Why start fresh with something else before I even got this down fully? And that's one of the reasons why I wanted I'm going live more now. So that way I can show that more authentic process of reaching that level. And I've gotten, I got the different folders on here. Um, I have my trading folders. I was trying to wait on. I'll just play music until 12 because that's when Jerome is supposed to be speaking, and that's when I'll kind of do them side by side. You know what? I'm gonna just do. So the playlist today. It don't matter. Where is it? Have we had anybody anywhere? I'll go Austin Mills, of course. Of course. So, we play this. Fox Education. Education. Dedication. Okay. So this is my education folder. I'm not an expert. These are just the things that I broke down on. If I could go back and know everything that I know now, how to fast track or get from that point to this point faster. And I focused on these things and I learned these things and understood what was important and then done the back testing and just gotten the data and developed a plan and stuck with one plan, one trading strategy, whatever. So anybody, this is free. Anybody want to check it out, see what I'm doing. Maybe if you want to learn the process, or if you know anybody that has more knowledge and they see something like, oh, you should do this, or you should do this, or whatever like that. I'm open to anything. So I got the questions, my 9 questions about trading. psychology video, trading view, enter and exit trades, back testing, how to back test, forward testing data, back testing tips, data tips. Probably should have moved that up there. Prop firm futures review. I currently go with Perdia, and that's in this video. It's not the one that I ultimately talk about the most in there, but Perdia is in there, and that's who I go through now, and that's who I prefer. They don't seem to have any extra stuff going on. You trade, show them you can trade. You trade for like basically like the 3 weeks, but it's a live account. It's your money, whatever. I've gotten to a point where live funded account, but then over trading, maybe lose it. That's another reason why I want to start going live, so that way I can have hopefully more checks in balance to stop me from over trading or risking too much or just getting too greedy. And then connecting broker to trading view. And now I got I'm gonna add all my data stuff, all my charts and stuff should be in these forward testing videos and back testing videos. So I got that in there. What I probably will add to this a little more is probably like a fast track video on a more acute set of information for those that might already know some of the basics or have some previous skills at back testing and stuff like that. And then also probably most likely, because it is what it is, like I can still make money regardless. I'll most likely also will make a video on the full breakdown on my trading process and what I look for exactly, my confluences, all of that. So I would say moving forward, what they say, like, subscribe, hit the notification bells, because now I'll be going live more. Delete that one. Okay. That's why it's hard for me to find this her, love her. Dang on this. Ooh, see what's this doing? It's the only thing with this, but it didn't. Last time it came up here, broke past this with these candles, but it was still under the red. This one broke in the red. That's not me. This would only be like Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Especially had this have been like later in the week, I definitely would have been like, I'm cool for the day. Because it's Monday and because Jerome is gonna speak in like 4 minutes, I'm gonna continue recording and just seeing what the market's gonna do. If it wasn't like that, oh, I didn't even. I don't think I was sharing my screen. So y'all was just watching. So what I was saying is, I'm seeing some movement. Again, the only reason I'm still here is just because I want to see what the market's gonna do. Once Jerome speaks, just kind of ranging.
Yeah. introduce myself. My name is
Bloomberg. Bloomberg Live News.
All of this is the S&P 500 index is trading a little change right now, or actually just turning higher. First time today, about 2 points, little change, up under 1/10%. We got Dow remaining in the red. Dow Industrials now 133, now dropped over 0.3%. Nasdaq up 2%. Bloomberg Banks index is starting around from early losses of 0.3%. January up 4.5%. The 2-year 3.93%. Gold is $83.
$83. Oh, hell. Gold is surging.
Looking at NVIDIA here in this chart, and it almost has those type of price performance, comparisons.
It does. And I mean, if you haven't been watching Boeing as of late, you'd be shocked to see that this was a Boeing chart because, as anyone knows who's followed the name for the better part of the last half a decade, it has been a story where we see failed breakouts, we see failed rallies, and then really, really pitted by its own bad news. But today, with some analyst optimism, and actually we're up about 1.3% on the session. Now, just 2% off of 52-week highs. So again, yeah, you would never think that this would be a Boeing chart, but thankfully it is. Boeing upgraded at BMA as they did say Trump makes the aircraft manufacturer a favored trade tool. Upgraded to buy from neutral with a street high price target of $260 up from $185. So substantially, obviously higher than where they previously had targeted the stock. They noted this is due to Boeing aircraft having emerged again as this favored trade tool in terms of these recent trade deals.
But now you're starting to see innocent people being killed, these individuals showing up yelling free Palestine. How will the FBI try to get ahead of these types of attacks? Clearly looking at things online.
So the more time you bring in our friend Kayleigh McEnany, co-host of Out Numbered. Great to have you here. I want you to listen to Congressman Jeffries. This is what he had to say about all of this.
We don't have the presidency right now, so that's always going to be challenging a few months after a presidential election. Understandably, there's real frustration amongst the American people. They should be frustrated.
But they're frustrated with you as well, with Democrats as well.
Of course, they're frustrated with the system.
This felt a little bit like, it's not me, it's you.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's right. It's hard after you lose the presidency, your numbers go down. But where is the strategy? I'm still waiting on the autopsy of what went wrong. I mean, you just heard the Tim Walz comments about being meaner. I'm not sure that was the takeaway from the election. The takeaway was, the trans issue, language policing, the economy, and Republicans having a plan. So